Over the last 4 or 5 days, I've been hopping back into Destiny 1 on the Xbox. I have my main characters on the PS4, and I had an underleveled Warlock and Titan on the Xbox One, so I thought I'd take a look back just to see what it was like after being away for so long. Adjusting from PC to console took a little bit, but something really strange happened the more I played. I was really enjoying myself in this game that came out 6 years ago. Now, I know Destiny wasn't a perfect game. I don't think anybody would argue it was. There were a lot of problems with the quirky engine that could kill you if you landed on a rock at the wrong angle. And I'll never understand the decision to remove special ammo from PvP only to replace it with crates. But there's no denying that there was some sort of special sauce to the mix that this original had that has not yet been replicated. Sure, there's Division and Warframe, which get close to what Destiny has, but we've also seen some dramatic failures who tried to jump in on that shared world shooter goodness, only to fall short and fail to capture the same audience attention. Players, myself included, have spent time agonizing over every little detail of the Destiny world. Why do heavy ammo consumables need a cooldown timer that long? Should story missions be repurposed as strikes? Why did they take my favorite weapon out of rotation only to bring it back? There's plenty to chit-chat about, analyze, and imagine a better way forward within these worlds. But for today, I'm going to talk about how Destiny, this game so many people love to hate, kind of changed everything.
These guardians show us what we are, what we have always been, and what we will be again. We are what remains of the light.
Before Destiny, I'd argue that no game had the mass appeal or interest Destiny did. Warframe had come out a year prior and was beginning to develop a dedicated fan base, but the fact that Bungie was taking a stab at what was largely a new genre of gaming had people salivating. The marketing promised a space adventure, and while what we actually got was fairly bare bones at the start, they actually pulled it off. Exactly 1 year after its release, the original Destiny had amassed 25 million registered users, an astounding number of players. They had succeeded in creating a technological marvel, a console game that melded RPG mechanics into a world filled with mystery, secrets to uncover, and pinnacle raid activities the most hardcore could undertake. So what was so special about this game, and why was it so hard to put down? Hopping back into this original world, it's recognizable by appearance only. Mechanically, Destiny 1 is a much harder game, due in large part because of the scarcity of heavy ammunition, speed and responsiveness of your Guardian, and less frequent super abilities. In addition to getting your super less frequently, it also lasts much less time than it does in Destiny 2. A Striker Titan, for example, gets one smash and that's it. A Hunter gets only 3 Golden Gun shots, no they can't be extended, or 1 super powerful shot with the Celestial Nighthawk helmet. The Blade Dancer was the most mobile of the original supers until Taken King introduced similar options for the Titan and Warlock in the form of Stormcaller and Sunbreakers. The rock, paper, scissors elements of those original supers were much better crafted than I remember, and when you got to execute one of those abilities, it resulted in some spectacular moments, but you had to plan your attack effectively, otherwise you could be countered by a self-reviving Warlock or a slam that shuts down your entire team. Overall, Destiny 2 is a much faster-paced game, likely because of the added power Bungie had with the updated engine, and because they left the 360 and PS3 behind. You may forget, but Destiny originally came out across generations, and that may have slowed them down option-wise. However, I think that those limitations may have given the entire gameplay loop, the thing most often described as the gameplay feel, of the original game a much better balance. It took longer to get places, giving you more time to think about the world you were in and wonder what you might see around the next corner. Your ammo and powers weren't constantly available, meaning you needed to make smarter decisions when you were in a tough situation. Hopping back into this world, I realize now that Gjallarhorn wasn't just coveted because of its power. The weapon was perfect for nearly every single scenario that bombarded you with enemy after enemy, and in boss fight moments you often had to fight scared or figure out a way to melt the boss. If you didn't, you were in for a fight that involved hiding under stairs or making someone an anchor so you didn't have to wipe and start the entire encounter over again. Heavy ammo, or heck, just ammo in general, is much more coveted in Destiny 1 because it was the difference between life or death. The game was much harder than Destiny 2. Just about the only time you're challenged in Destiny 2 is when you're playing through a new raid activity. Meanwhile, in Destiny 1, you're constantly up against the wall or relying on your fire team. Maybe you were some Destiny god that never had to hide, but I've spent my fair share of time grinding Nightfalls by hiding under a stairwell and sniping a boss with my icebreaker while waiting for my heavy ammo consumable to recharge. That risk reward is why gaining power felt so dang good, and the game did a good job of constantly rewarding you in different ways. Gunsmith weapons you could level, PvP bounties that gave you armor sets from different seasons, Vanguard challenges that gave legendary marks used for infusion, or motes of lights that allowed you to re-roll some items for a chance at that coveted roll. Every single thing you did progressed some other part of the game in a positive way. The difficulty curve also gave you a reason to seek out friends, not just to run a raid, but really for all activities. You would wait until your buddies got online so you could attempt the Nightfall of the week, which gave you an XP boost and coveted gear that leveled up your Guardian. Or maybe you chased the drop with a God roll that helped you perfect that T12 Intellect Discipline Strength loadout you had been chasing. And it wasn't just your subclasses that you needed to work on. Each piece of armor and each weapon had their own unique upgrade paths as well. It meant you were constantly grabbing bounties to cash in and keeping them stacked for when you got that coveted piece of gear you wanted to level up quickly. It all worked together so well. You could either load up on bounties, which never expired, and then pop them one at a time, or get a big stack completed, load up the gear you wanted to level, and then pop them all and revel in your progress. The puzzle of progression in the original was honestly one of my favorite things. The current meta has been dumbed down and diluted so much that it took away one of the best parts of the game: the secret of how to level most efficiently. Destiny 2's lack of exciting progress is compounded by the artifact level, which in my opinion is one of the worst things to happen to Destiny 2. The artifact takes away all need to hit a new max level. There's no more hitting the cap, something we would make videos about when someone solved the mystery of how to do it faster than anyone else. It doesn't matter anymore. In addition, the mystery of the world and where it was progressing to was a much more intriguing tale. I think that might be more because I'm such a sucker for origin stories, but Destiny 1 really felt like it was building towards something. Sadly, characters like Brother Vance were made comedic relief as fanatical fans of Osiris, and Osiris was revealed as an odd fellow who prefers the corners of time over the tower. Still, that storyline gave us one of the strongest seasonal stories in Destiny 2 yet, with the Season of Dawn and Saint 14 reveal. The overall tone of the original was more serious, dark, and ominous though. Shadowkeep seemed to veer us back towards that direction, and we won't know until this fall if Destiny 2 manages to recapture that same mysterious nature the original game did quite well. Hopping back into this world, I couldn't believe how little I remembered about the little quirks, like the fact that ghosts had light associated with them. It started coming back to me after a few days of playing in this beloved sandbox. The original Destiny will always hold a special place in my heart. It proved that this MMO RPG model could work on console. It created an entire group of content creators around one property that has persisted over the last 6 years and shows no signs of slowing. Even now, when most would say that Destiny is in the worst shape it's ever been, it rarely leaves the top 10 list of most played games on Steam and has around 36.5 million unique accounts with over 1.1 million active players hopping in and playing on May 9th, 2020 alone. I've kind of gone all over the place in this video, but playing Destiny 1 made me extremely happy while simultaneously a bit sad. I don't think that Bungie will ever recapture that lightning in a bottle Destiny 1 had, and instead, they're left with the difficult task of figuring out where they take the world of Destiny 2. Still, if we look at the accomplishments of the original, it's hard to understate just how much of an achievement it was. It was the first mass-market FPS MMORPG game. It added some of the best raid activities in gaming. It created an all-new 3v3 PvP mode with Trials of Osiris that was heralded as one of the best online competitive experiences ever made. I still think that had they not taken the original mode away, it would have remained as a top-played mode in gaming. It simplified the MMO model games like Final Fantasy XI or XIV had done before them into an easy-to-understand sandbox that also allowed you to take your all-powerful Guardian into the PvP space and flex your achievements. They built an entire world of lore. Originally hidden behind Grimoire on Bungie.net, we've gotten to learn about the history of this fantasy space world, the characters, the armor, and the weapons. And when you start looking at the community the game has created, it's kind of surreal. A hangout at a local restaurant in Florida has become GCX, a gaming event that raises millions for St. Jude every year and gives Destiny fans a place to hang out. Several major YouTubers got their start covering what Xur brought each week, and some nerdy kid started a podcast with some friends years ago that has somehow consistently brought in an audience week after week. I don't know what inspired me to make this video. I hopped into the original Destiny for a few days and was immediately sucked back into the progression loop and stories of this world as I played through the campaign for Taken King and Rise of Iron once more. It was like saying hello to an old friend and catching up after being apart for a few years. The game has changed in some ways I like and some that I don't, but I think it's always going to hold a special place in my heart. If it's been a while since you turned on Destiny 1, you may be surprised to see just how active the community is. I was able to play most match-made modes with little to no wait, and while Destiny 2 is gearing up for a new season, I may spend a little more time with my old acquaintance. If you do fire up Destiny 1, let me know what came to your mind on your trip down memory lane, and until next time, I'm Destin, signing off.
What happened? Everything all right?
Why wouldn't we be all right? We're just stuck here with no ship and no transmat zone.
Great. Told you my stealth drive would work.